Part 154. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1536. Scarlacy will be rewarded with more rewards. 100 micro-injections a day. 10 days, 1,000 times in total. Greet looked sad while doing the experiment. After completing the experiment and analyzing the reasons for the failure of the experiment, I became even more sad. The injection force was too strong, the angle was wrong, and the fertilized egg was penetrated. This data must be excluded. Too much cytoplasm was extracted? Should we control the amount of extraction next time? Or, the nucleus was accidentally extracted? The part sent into the fertilized egg contained chromosomes, and the result was triploidy. Or maybe the fertilized egg has a hole poked in it, and it was too damaged to begin with? Do you want to give it a healing spell to let the cell membrane heal naturally? Or, should we beat the unfertilized eggs into a paste, put the fertilized eggs inside, and let them absorb nutrients naturally? Ah, it's so difficult. How can we make the fertilized egg feel that the things sent in are for it to ingest? Gretel held his head in his hands, knocked his head on the experimental table, and groaned. From behind, Cyrilla walked over lightly and reached out to rub his shoulders. Okay, if we can't figure it out, let's change our thinking. Or we can go a little slower. Don't be so anxious. Your eyes are almost closed. It doesn't matter if you don't make a contract. I always believe in you. Greet took a long breath, straightened up, and wanted to lean back, but stopped at the last moment before reaching Cyrilla. He leaned forward again and buried his forehead between his hands. It's not for this, Celera, it's not for this. My intuition is that this road should work, but I haven't found a way yet. There must be a way, there must be a way. In previous lives, we even removed genetic material from animal cells and stuffed it into egg cells to promote the development of egg cells. What else can't be done? It must be that he didn't find the right method. But where is the method? He is not an expert in cloning, he is not even an expert in cell research, and he has never even been exposed to the profession of biomedicine. If you can't think of a way, just do it randomly. Regarding this, Cyrilla was very calm, even so calm that she didn't care. Didn't Gretel say that? The so-called research means to do it according to the idea if you have an idea, and to do it randomly if you don't have an idea. Especially when you are working with materials, you have to use all the materials at hand, this and that, to pour inside. Stop, 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 stop. Greet interrupted with a headache and raised his hand. When did I ever say that? It was when Mr. Norwood was studying that rubber, Cyrilla said confidently. He had no idea at the time. That's what you said. There are so many materials in the Mage Tower, just pour them into the rubber. But it's not possible to study fertilized eggs. Greet couldn't laugh or cry. A fertilized egg is such a delicate thing. If the temperature is a little higher, it will die. If the temperature is a little lower, it will die. If the culture medium is thicker, it will die. If the culture medium is a little lighter, it will die. It's like growing bacteria in a laboratory. Bacteria that obviously grow very vigorously in the outside world and can grow large colonies on a salted fish. In the laboratory, the temperature was 0.1 degrees higher today. Ah, I'm dead. The experimenters responsible for cultivating bacteria were so overwhelmed that they shed tears on the spot. Just die. At this time, Cyrilla fully demonstrated the arrogance of the dragon clan as a superior race, or in other words, the willfulness of the eldest lady as the silver dragon princess. He raised his chin and waved his hand vigorously. Anyway, these devil frog eggs are going to die. Anyway, they hatch normally, but a large part of them will not hatch, and a large part of them will not grow to adulthood. Greet, you can do whatever you want. Add acid, alkali, salt, heat and freeze, gravity, magnetic current, do it all again. I think there is always a way. Well. Greet held his chin and really thought about it seriously. I'm afraid adding acid, alkali, and salt won't work. The fertilized eggs will be corroded and problems will occur in minutes. You can try heating and freezing, but you can only try it slightly. You can't denature the protein, crystallize the water in the cells, or puncture the organelles. Gravity, magnetism, electric current, ultraviolet rays, and various rays. In fact, you can try them all. Done. Greet jumped up and started experimenting with the attitude of breaking a jar. Put it into the water bath, increase the temperature by 0.1 degrees, then 0.1 degrees higher, then 0.1 degrees higher, and increase it little by little. Then put it into the freezing magic array, and the temperature will drop by 0.1 degrees, then by 0.1 degrees, and then by 0.1 degrees again. The gravity field is more troublesome, so I simply put it in the centrifuge, use centrifugal force instead of gravity, and spin around and around. The coil is set up, the magnetic field is pulled up, the pulse current is turned on, and the ultraviolet rays are illuminated. Next to it is a laboratory, where all kinds of radiation, alpha rays, beta rays, and gamma rays, are illuminated one by one. After such a series of experiments, it was finally seen that the fertilized eggs of the devil frog had undergone various changes. The vast majority of cases result from hatching failure, hatching malformation, or fertilized eggs dying halfway. There are also cases where the chromosomes inside are completely disintegrated when exposed to rays and can no longer divide, such as the result of strong ultraviolet rays. However, the results of pulse current stimulation really gave Greet a little surprise. Cyrilla, look, Gretel was lying in front of the microscope, his eyes shining brightly. The fertilized eggs seemed to be developing better. Where? Where? Cyrilla quickly pushed aside and lay down in front of the microscope, trying to observe. However, she was not like Greet, who followed the whole process, nor was she like Greet, who carefully observed every fertilized egg with a microscope and accumulated sufficient experience. She looked left, right, up and down, but couldn't see anything. She could only look back at Greet blankly. Where did you see it? It's just that it looks stronger. Gretel didn't know how to describe it to her for a moment, so she could only make a few gestures feebly. Anyway, you see, according to the previous records, it should have developed to the blastocyst stage in an hour. But now, it has reached the blastocyst stage, so fast. So, give it a little electrical stimulation, and it will, sure enough, it can grow better. That's great. Although Cyrilla couldn't even understand the difference between a fertilized egg and a blastocyst, her little face lit up when she saw Greet's joy. Then electrocute it? Try to electrocute it? Electrocute it a few more times, use various methods to electrocute it, and try to electrocute it more and more. Gretel was also greatly encouraged. Since giving electrical stimulation can make fertilized eggs develop better, we should give more electrical stimulation in different ways. The best is to be able to summarize an effective method, or even magic, so that magicians can provide services to female dragons who need to be pregnant. If the female dragon can learn to look inside her own ovaries and fallopian tubes and operate them for herself, then of course it would be very good. With such expectations, Gretel devoted himself to research with great vigor. Then, he encountered a series of failures. The fertilized egg is finished, and there is a big hole in the cell membrane. Is the current too strong? What is the current intensity? Wait, I remember there is something called transmembrane voltage. I have to think about what it is. Theoretically, it should just exceed the transmembrane voltage, just enough to break the cell membrane. Get a piercing. The fertilized egg is finished again. This time it feels like it's not a problem with the current, but a problem with the pulse frequency. Well, adjust the pulse frequency again. It's over again. I know, fertilized eggs and unfertilized eggs must be close together, even if they are even slightly apart. If there is even a slight distance, 10 times the current will be used to make up for it, and the fertilized eggs will be burned. Well, the cytoplasm flow is reversed, it actually flows from the fertilized egg into the unfertilized egg. This is not what I want. I am not doing cloning, I understand, the pulse current direction is reversed. Why is something not right this time? Wait, the direction of the pulse current is crooked. Wrong. If the direction is crooked, it will cause unnecessary large holes, but how to determine its direction, micro-ranging magic array how to set it up. It still doesn't work. There are still too many egg cells dead, and there are holes at both ends. I know, the transmembrane voltage between the two poles of the cell membrane and the contact area exceeds the perforation threshold, and this doesn't work. Only by making the small area of contact between the fertilized egg and the unfertilized egg exceed the perforation threshold can the damage be minimized. But what to do? Greet was tossing the electric current to death. After struggling for half a month, Cyrero was no longer willing to approach him. Even when he was walking in the Mage Tower, electric charges were unconsciously floating around him, crackling, and shooting out a spark of electricity when he touched it. On the contrary, Archmage Philby greatly appreciated Gretel. This is right, as a magician of the evocation department, as a magician of Thunderhorn, everyone has such a day. This was the first time in such a long time that she saw that her junior brother was dedicated to researching the direction of electric current. Little Greet, you finally look like a mage from Thunderhorn. Little Greet, how are you doing? Taking a chance when no one was around, Archmage Philby stopped Greet and asked with a smile. Greet scratched his hair in annoyance. Senior sister, come here and take a look, I can't break through the last level. Seeing that the junior brother finally focused on the study of thunder and lightning spells, Archmage Philby was in a good mood and patted her chest boldly. Don't worry, leave it to senior sister. Whatever problems you encounter, senior sister will help you solve it. Then, Your Excellency, the Archmage, plunged into things like current, voltage, pulse frequency, electric field strength, waveform, etc. Don't worry, I will definitely be able to figure it out. Give me 3 more days. 3 more days. 3 more days. Gretel, sister, come on. This chapter refers to the effect of different electrofusion conditions on the fusion and early development of recombinant embryos of mouse cumula cell nuclear transplantation, production of transgenic fish by electric pulse method, simulation and experimental research on improving cell electrofusion efficiency with nanomicrosecond composite pulses, electrical pulse-assisted activation of human oocytes, research on high-throughput cell electrical fusion method based on microelectrode array and other papers. I am exhausted. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1537. Archmage Philby was immersed in experiments and data, researching, demonstrating, and sensing, and then studying, demonstrating, and sensing again. She was so busy that she didn't know what day it was. This high-level mage's strength is much stronger than Gretel's, the sensitivity of his mental power is also much more delicate than Gretel's. The electric field unfolds and the spiritual power unfolds. A mental force field that can directly feel the electron flow. With the touch of the electron flow, you can even observe damage on the cell membrane. Well, it is indeed broken, and there are a lot of holes. So, little Gretel, your request is to break it at a specific point, only break that place, that little bit, let the cytoplasm flow through in a directed manner, and then it can shrink and heal on its own. Yes, yes, Gretel nodded vigorously and looked at the senior sister eagerly. Senior sister, it's up to you. I've never been able to figure it out, senior sister, please help me design a magic, or a magic array that can directional breakdown and control the pulse current according to the strength of the fertilized egg. Archmage Philby fell into experimental hell. She originally thought that it would be good to spend 3 days helping her junior brother solve a problem and change her mind at the same time. As a result, 3 days, and 3 days, 3 days and 3 days. If you just use electric current to stimulate the fertilized egg and the unfertilized egg next to it, break down the egg membrane, let the cytoplasm flow in, and empower the fertilized egg at the same time, Archmage Philby has already done it on the first day. The method is very simple, just rub it with your hands. Powerful and delicate mental power, direct perception, direct exploration, direct flow of electrons, activated at the place where two cells meet. As long as you try a few times, you can achieve accurate breakdown without causing unnecessary damage. However, what Gretel wants is to design a universal magic, or a universal magic circle. Oh my god. Archmage Philby designed and designed, debugged and debugged, but still couldn't find the direction. Just the intensity of an electric pulse made her scratch her hair crazily, scratching her hair until it rustled. Greet didn't even dare to remind her that if you continue to scratch her like this, senior sister, your hair will become bald. So, where is the difficulty? After another day of fruitless work, Greet asked the senior sister cautiously. Archmage Philby shook her hair in annoyance. The current strength. How to achieve self-adaptation. The appropriate current for low-level devil frog eggs will not work for high-level devil frog eggs. Lizards are not good at it. It is conceivable that fertilized eggs of dragons are even worse. Well, Gretel has no idea about this. If he had, he wouldn't hug his senior sister's lap. However, as a doctor and a medical master who has received a complete medical education, I can still talk about some basic issues. Actually, cells have something called transmembrane potential. He explained the principle of transmembrane potential in detail, from the composition of the cell membrane to the electrical activity of the cell and the permeability of the cell under different conditions. Finally concluded. Our current task is to use short and strong electric fields to increase the permeability of the cell membrane. The electric field creates local holes in the cell membrane, thereby inducing cell fusion. Archmage Philby's eyes had begun to straighten. She didn't listen to a word of what Greet said next, her ears were rumbling, and only a few words were floating back and forth. Potential. Potential. Ion concentration and potential difference on both sides of the cell. Permeability. IL. As a high-level mage, strictly speaking, as a high-level mage above level 17, you have reached the end of your magic journey. At level 17, you can already learn 9-level magic. After that, at levels 18 and 19, you can still only learn magic. Can learn 9-ring magic. From level 17 to level 19, it is a process for casters to slowly adjust their bodies and move towards legend. After entering the legend, the whole person becomes partially elemental, thus gaining longer life and stronger power. Of course, it is inherently difficult and dangerous for a flesh and blood body to become elemental. Therefore, spellcasters from various factions show their talents and work hard to find safe and efficient methods. For example, nature walkers strive to get close to nature and understand nature. The advantage is that nature is the most tolerant, stable, and balanced, and you are least likely to be in danger if you follow this path. The disadvantage is that nature is too vast, and what people see in nature is only a drop in the ocean, which is even worse than a blind man touching an elephant. And if you look too little, it will be biased. When it is elementalized, it will be easy to deviate to one side. For example, nature practitioners who have studied plants for a long time are prone to lignification of the whole body or part of the body. 2 legs turned into wood, half of the body turned into wood, even if only a piece of skin on the face turned into bark, it was still disfigured. Another example is that nature walkers who have studied the transformation of beasts for a long time can easily lose their minds and completely forget that they are human beings. Run into the wilderness and never look back. For another example, a nature walker who has been studying elemental magic for a long time has no precedent of turning himself into a ball of fire, a stream of water, or a strong wind. In view of this, a group of nature walkers in ancient times left the path of nature and fell into the embrace of God. Pray for divine grace to keep them sane and not get lost in nature. Of course, the legendary body transformed by divine grace and the power of faith is purely impure. Whether it will be controlled by others, or whether it can be 100% effective after being far away from the place of faith, is another matter. Another group of nature walkers embarked on the path of studying the world and analyzing the mysteries of the world, which is the path of magic. The way magicians pursue elementalization is to learn as much high-level magic as possible, create more high-level magic, imprint more magic into their own meditation world, and then let the meditation world feed back into the physical body. In this process, understanding and analyzing the world is particularly important. Just as Gretel came up with the doctrine of human electricity and electrocardiography, and the Lord of Thunder said this is very important for elementalization. The evocation school, especially the Thunder Horn, has a deeper understanding of the relationship between the body and electricity, the easier it is to elementalize, and the less danger it encounters during the elementalization process. Archmage Philby, Gretel was at level 16 when she first started. She benefited greatly from the Battle of Hall Strait and advanced to level 17. Later, I followed the Lord of Thunder to study microscopes, electron flow, various rays, various structures and subdivisions of particles, and within a few years, I advanced to level 18. Then, it got stuck. Level 18 to 19, this step is the last level before advancing to legend, and it is also the final preparation of the body for elementalization. Level 19 is called a half-step legend, which means that if you have enlightenment anytime and anywhere, and take a leap, you can cross the chasm between mortals and legends. As for senior sister Philby, she is stuck between level 18 and 19, and her body's elementalization is just a little short of that. Some magicians can overcome this in a few years, some magicians need decades or hundreds of years, and some magicians cannot overcome it in their lifetime. Archmage Philby struggled for a long time to no avail, so she simply focused on her current project. Study, 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 all kinds of meditation, all kinds of tossing. Then, the knowledge point of transmembrane potential suddenly made up for the last shortcoming. Yes, yes. That's it. She raised her head suddenly, and her long light brown curly hair flew out, one by one straightened in the air, the ends of her hair crackled and sparkled with electric light. Gretel subconsciously took a step back. Sister, you. It's okay. Archmage Philby only said these few words, and the semi-substantial world of meditation began to emerge around her. Electric balls, electric snakes, electric rings, and flashing electric sparks, far and near, rotated endlessly around her body. What is even more dazzling is her pair of dark green eyes, which seem to be shining with countless thunder and lightning, which can pour out any time and anywhere. Greed took a step back, then took a step forward, then took a step back, and then took a step forward, quickly throwing defense to himself, throwing defense to the instruments in the laboratory, throwing defense to the experimental records, and throwing defense to everything in the laboratory. Archmage Philby took a long breath, her chest rose and fell, she raised her hands high and pressed down hard. As she moved, the electric light gradually converged into her body, and finally disappeared. She turned to the experimental table, flew her hands, and started operating at high speed. I suddenly had an inspiration. Little Greet, don't worry, it will be fine soon, it will be fine in a moment. As he spoke, he summoned a magic crystal as big as the mouth of a bowl and pointed at it. A shining light suddenly shot into the magic crystal, extending, turning, drawing circles, twisting and turning, constantly bifurcating and combining. In a moment, a magic circle with lines as thin as a hair and layered on top of each other, with an unknown number of layers, jumped up in the magic crystal. Archmage Philby waved her hand again, and a piece of thunder fell on the skin of the monster she summoned, and instantly turned into words. I've designed the magic circle for you. I've also written down the operation method. Just follow it yourself. I'm leaving dash. Before he finished speaking, he jumped up and jumped out of the window. Greet rushed to the window, only to hear a thunderbolt, falling in the air. Sun Sheng raised his head and saw lightning falling like rain. The senior sister stepped up step by step and walked directly to the top of the tower. And when he rushed into the center of the mage tower and asked the tower spirit to activate its maximum defense, the lightning in the sky had turned into a pillar of light, rolling down the boundless force of nature like a tornado. The end point of the tornado is Archmage Philby, who stands high on the top of the mage tower, with her long hair flying and her dark blue skirt blooming like flowers. That's awesome. Another advanced step. Level 18 to level 19, half step to legend, this step is not easy to take. How many years has it been since she last advanced? The magicians stopped what they were doing, walked out of the magic tower, stood on tiptoes and stretched their necks to watch from a distance. In the dragon nest far away, 2 silver dragons also raised their heads. Advanced reaction. What a powerful advanced reaction. Little Gretel has finally advanced. The engagement ceremony. The engagement ceremony is ready. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geolan 2020. Chapter 1538. How big is the news of advancing from level 18 to level 19? Looking up, the clouds above were swept by hurricanes and surging forward. Gather, collide, merge, tear apart. And among these conflicting clouds, lightning fell like a torrential rain. One after another, connected end to end, like a brilliant pillar of light, reaching the sky and the earth, connecting the top of the mage tower and the high cloud top. Even if you are 10 or 100 miles away, as long as you raise your head, you will be shocked and breathless by that beam of light. At the bottom of the light pillar, stood a human figure so small that it was almost invisible, with arms spread out, quietly absorbing the lightning. In addition to lightning, there are also all the forces surging from all directions with the light pillar as the center. This is advanced. Silver Dragon Andre was at the top of the dragon's nest, on the flat boulder that silver dragons like, squinting his eyes and looking into the distance. Is it little Greet? With such a strong power fluctuation, is it really him? There are so many high-level mages in the mage tower. It must be little Gretel. Cynthia was a step slower than him, flattened her wings and landed beside him, resting her head on the edge of the boulder. Didn't you listen to what Cyrilla said? Oh, you really haven't heard this part. The movement of Gretel's advancement is much bigger than that of others, and is comparable to that of magicians a few levels higher. The last time he advanced, the entire elf island came out to protect him. That shouldn't be lightning. Andre muttered under his breath. Cynthia raised her tail and patted him with the tip of her tail. Why can't it be lightning? Little Gretel is the mage of Thunderhorn. Listen clearly, Thunderhorn. In short, hurry up and send someone to have a look, and then prepare for the engagement ceremony. Hurry. Nu. Andre replied weakly. Although he was also very happy that the boy moved very quickly. If he said he would study hard, he would study hard, and if he said he would advance, he would advance. But why should he be so fast? He doesn't want to marry off his daughter so soon, even if it's an engagement. He took a deep breath, raised his head, and the long roar of the dragon spread far away. About half a day later, a slightly smaller silver dragon flew over under the setting sun, spreading its wings far away and suspended in the air. "Father, mother, what's the matter?" Vaska sighed helplessly. He patrolled and fought in Sky Dragon City, finally got a vacation, and still had to chase his beloved Crystal Dragon girl. There really isn't much time to allocate to yourself. In such a short period of time, his parents would urge him over and tell him to go to work. As for what's going on, Andre glared, waved his front paws, and pointed in the direction of the lightning pillar. "You didn't see such a big movement? What are you asking me about?" "Of course I saw it." Vaska was crestfallen. Not only did he see it, he was literally blown up from his sleep. No dragon can ignore such strong elemental turmoil. For dragons with keen senses, it is like lighting a beam of flame between their eyebrows, or dancing on the tip of their tail. Not only did he see it, but the giant dragons in the surrounding territories also saw it. On the way he flew over, there were several giant dragons flying in this direction, intending to take the opportunity to sense the elemental fluctuations. Of course, it is not possible to enter the territory of other dragons, but sticking to the edge of the territory is not a big problem. A few more giant dragons checked their direction and flew directly in the direction of the mage tower with the excuses, "I'm looking for a healer for the dependents in the territory and I'm asking them to help transform the dependents. If you see it, hurry up and go there. Let's see if little Gretel's advancement goes smoothly. There are still a few days to complete. Then, your sister's engagement ceremony will also be prepared. You didn't ask me to come over. I was already at the mage tower at this time." Vaska grunted and turned in a direction, flying towards the pillar of light that towered over the sky. The closer the distance, the more violent the elemental tide rolling around, and the electric sparks filling the air made every dragon scale of Vaska want to stand up. 10 miles away, the dragon's sharp eyes could clearly see the small figure standing under the beam of light, as well as the flying long hair and skirt. "It doesn't seem like little Gretel. But the answer like cannot satisfy parents." Vaska gritted his teeth and continued flying forward, wishing to immerse himself in the changes in the elements, but he could only squint his eyes and carefully identify the figure on the opposite side. "It doesn't seem like it's really. The hair is very long, very long. Little Greet's hair is not that long. What she is wearing should be a skirt, not a mage robe, not the straight up and down style. The mage robe will never fly in such a wide range, it is indeed a skirt. That's right, it's not little Greet. Father, mother, why did you bring me here just for a piece of unreliable news? If you want to marry your sister off, there's no rush, right?" He turned around and was about to turn back, but he was reluctant to take this opportunity and wanted to understand for a while. If an adult dragon wants to advance, he also needs to put in a lot of effort, and research, combat, and practice are all indispensable. But his parents were waiting eagerly in Dragon's Nest, and now they couldn't move easily. They were just waiting for him to bring back the news. It seemed like they should go back and tell them. While he was hesitating, a man ran out from under the mage tower and waved to him from a distance. Vaska took a closer look, tightened his wings, and rushed down like an arrow. "Cyrilla! What's going on? What's going on now? Where's Greet?" "Gretel is busy." Cyrilla happily ran up to him and grabbed him. "Great senior sister, Archmage Philby is in the process of advancing. Gretel is already busy. Brother, why are you here? Don't leave once you're here. There are so many great mages here. It's such a rare opportunity. This position is only a few hundred steps away from the mage tower. Standing under the tower, even Archmage Philby's flying hair can be seen clearly. From where they stood to the bottom of the mage tower, a large circle of people stood scattered. People wearing mage robes, work clothes, gray-brown short robes, and some strange white robes, with their heads raised, sitting upright, or lying down on the spot. Everyone's attention is focused on the top of the tower is Archmage Philby. There are also a few giant dragons that have appeared in their original form, lying 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers away. The Dragon Clan members who came to take care of the dragon beast, including several spellcasters, were also among the crowd at this time, trying to seize the opportunity. If you feel a little more, maybe you can accumulate more possibilities for your own advancement. Seeing this, Vasca struggled for the last time whether to go back and report the news, and let her sister hold her hand tightly, and then she calmed down. He patted his sister's arm gently, carefully pulled away, then retreated 70 or 80 steps, found an open space and revealed his original body. Close your eyes, raise your head, aim your eyebrows in the direction of the lightning pillar, relax your mind, and open each scale slightly. Ah, wonderful power, the power of electricity, the power of magnetism, and all kinds of wonderful powers, flowing around you, cutting through the gaps in the scales. Bathed in such power, I feel that I am only a hair away from the mysteries of the universe, and that advancement and so on are within reach. Archmage Philby, please wait a little longer to advance. It would be best if it lasts until the end of the world, until I take a bath in it and take a nap. When I wake up, I can advance. The Prime Dragon Stage. He lay on his stomach comfortably, in a daze, and devoted himself wholeheartedly to his realization. A few kilometers behind, the giant dragons coming from afar were muttering and discussing in a low voice. This guy is so close. Damn it! Why can he come so close? We can only stay so far away. Should we get closer? If we are so far away, the effect of understanding will not be good. No. This is already the cordon of the Mage Tower. If we go any further, the magicians will come and drive them away. Damn it! This guy is relying on his sister to get benefits. This is too much. When he comes out, everyone will despise him. After spitting a few words, he quickly gathered his mind and tried to feel the changes in the surrounding elements. At this moment, the lightning around Archmage Philby began to twist and deform, outlining various rune shapes. These runes are so fleeting that even the scanning system of the Mage Tower has no time to record them. The magicians can only let go of their mental power, struggle to feel, and struggle to record. There was only one person here who was so busy running around that he had no time to look at the Archmage. I finally got the knowledge I needed, so of course I had to hurry up and verify it quickly. Magic Array, Magic Array, Magic Array used to penetrate cell membranes and guide the flow of cytoplasm. The magic that guides dragon beasts into heat. Egg retrieval, stretch the vine from the cloaca into the ovary, then lignify the tip, and penetrate the follicle to retrieve the eggs under ultrasound guidance. It will cause minimal damage to the activity of the eggs. It can be said that there is almost no harm. Promote the union of sperm and eggs. The analysis of the mass reproduction technique is completed, the magic structure is passed, and it is confirmed that it has been learned, and the effect is good. Come on, lie down obediently, and let me conduct the experiment, the Great Reproduction Technique. The Great Reproduction Technique. The Great Reproduction Technique. The cell electrofusion technique was completed, and the last link of the reproduction magic was finally added. Gretel was impatient, rushed to the animal pen, found a few dragon beasts that had just laid eggs and were temporarily idle, and started experimenting. Estrus. Get the eggs. The mass reproduction technique promotes the union of sperm and eggs to produce fertilized eggs. Electrofusion to enhance fertilized eggs. The vines wrap the strengthened fertilized eggs and send them back to the dragon beast's fallopian tube together with the unstrengthened fertilized eggs. The mass reproduction technique is thrown out, prompting the fertilized eggs to be accepted by the dragon beast and start pregnancy. It must succeed, it must succeed, it must succeed. Greet kept mumbling. He did it one after another, experimental group, control group of control group, all over again. When I finished, I turned around and saw the rain dissipating and the clouds closing, and the lightning disappearing. Before he could see his senior sister, his brother-in-law turned into a silver lightning and rushed towards him. "Greet. What's your situation now? Didn't you advance?" "I didn't advance and I went back." Greet waved to him and watched him spread his wings and fly away. Vaska returned the same way, and just after telling his parents that it's not Gretel, it's his senior sister who has advanced, when he turned his head, he saw another astonishing momentum surge in the direction he had just come from. "Vaska. Who is this? Why bother tossing me back and forth? It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right?" Author, Giolan 2020. Chapter 1539. Chapter 1534. Gretel, so-and-so is pregnant, and Nordmark arrives? Even though he had just made a trip and was full of reluctance, Vaska was still honest and went back again. This time I went back and took a look, and it was amazing. The entire Mage Tower felt like it was facing a powerful enemy. On the top of the Mage Tower, a silver ball rose and kept rotating. The ball's body changes in 7 colors, and the 7-color light as thick as a bowl sweeps around, sweeping out a 3-kilometer radius around the Mage Tower. The 3 half-step legends stood in an equilateral triangle in the void and set up a cordon from a distance, 2 kilometers away from the Mage Tower. At the midpoint of each side of the equilateral triangle, 2 high-level mages stood, holding staffs in their hands, their robes fluttering in the wind, ready for battle. And inside the equilateral triangle, at each node, there are magicians from various schools standing, and all kinds of magical power are stirring, forming a huge defensive array. Vaska curled his lips 10 kilometers away. "As for that, it's just a step up. I've never seen you like this before when I came here. That silver ball must be engraved with the bow of rainbow light. Now it just sweeps back and forth, emitting lights of different colors. If someone takes a step beyond the warning line, those lights may turn into a rainbow attack at any time." Although I couldn't tell what it was at first glance, that magic circle used 3 half-step legends and, I counted, 1, 2, 3, 4, let me go, there are more than 40 high-level mages. Other high-level mages are probably inside the Mage Tower, controlling the energy pool, adjusting the flow of magic power, and preparing to charge the magic array. And that elf legend standing on top of the Mage Tower, you are a legend. Legend. Even if he is a legendary warrior, he is still a legend. Are there any incredible enemies around you that are worth holding your swords in hand and raising your whole body's momentum? But Huasca looked around again and felt that the vigilance of the mages was not unreasonable. Around the Mage Tower alone, there were no fewer than 5 giant dragons with their heads stretched out and their necks stretched out, staring closely at the center of the Mage Tower. A little further away, the screams of dragon beasts came one after another, and there was even a faint sound of huge trees breaking. If it weren't for the agitation of the force of nature and the efforts of the elders of the natural god sect to comfort them, it was obvious that they would have been able to break through the animal pen and rush directly to the Mage Tower. In the mountains, birds are chirping, and beasts are galloping. In addition to the giant dragons, some high-level monsters have already arrived, squatting on the trees, lying on the ground, blowing their hair, licking their claws, and staring at the center of the circle with bright eyes. "What are you robbing?" Vaska got a little closer and immediately knew the reason. The power is richer, more attractive, and closer to the essential power than when Archmage Philby advanced. It seems that as long as you take a deep breath, you can take a steady step on the road to advancement. If you can swallow the advanced person inside with this power, and rush directly to the mature dragon clan, it will not be a problem at all. Such a strong temptation, if it wasn't in front of so many magicians, if the Mage Tower wasn't in a full fire posture, he No, at least he could hold it. After all, the Mage Tower was on his father's territory and was run by the boy Sarala liked, so he would not interfere with his future brother-in-law's work. However, if he meets such an advanced person in the wild, Tisk, at least get closer and try to take a sip. Suck as much as you can. Don't swallow the advanced one in one gulp, let him get some good use of the dissipated energy. Elder brother. Just as he was thinking about it, a man ran out of the magic circle and tried to wave to him. Vaska looked around, gathered her wings, fell to the ground, turned into a human form, and ran towards her sister. What's wrong, Sarala? Gretel is advancing. Sarala grabbed him and turned back to look at the center of the Mage Tower. The silver dragon girl's cheeks were pink, she was excited and happy. He is finally going to advance. This time it took a long time. He told me several times in private that his research was not going well and he could never find the opportunity to advance. It's great to be able to advance now. This time, it's really not easy. Ah, oh. Vaska followed her direction and looked toward the Mage Tower. Naturally, nothing can be seen, not even Gretel's figure, probably sitting in a key location such as the center of the Mage Tower or the meditation room. However, he could clearly sense the surging power that penetrated the sky from nowhere and condensed into the Mage Tower. Mellow, rich, warm, and full of vitality. A person who can advance with such power, Vaska could confirm it even with his eyes almost closed. He must be a good man. Well, if Sarala is with him, it won't be a loss and she won't be hurt. Vaska let out a deep breath. Then he turned around and looked left and right. As he looked, he sighed. This scene is too big, it's unnecessary to have so many magicians supporting the defensive formation. What he really wanted to say was, the debt was too big, how should he repay it? Although it is said that these magicians can come to Dragon Island to study because of Gretel's favor, but favor is something that should always be used a little less, a little less. Little Greet will continue to move up in the future, step by step to reach the legend. If these high-level mages' favors can be saved and used together later, there is no need to consume them all now. Oh, this, Sarala followed him and scanned around, but shrugged indifferently. What is this scene? It's nothing at all. It's far worse than the previous 2 times. When he was on Elf Island before, it was World Tree who personally protected him, and more than a dozen elf legends defended him. How can it be like this now? Point formation battle. There are only 2 legends in total. Idion is a follower of Gretel. The legendary ancient tree in the Mage Tower. Anyone who opens the canopy for his close defense is considered half a follower. Other than that, the Guardians can only be half legendary even if they survive. How dare you say this is such a small battle? Just kidding. As for the surrounding dragons, they can only be regarded as watching, gaining insights, and taking opportunities, and cannot be regarded as guardians at all. Even so, so far, no legendary dragons have arrived. Huasca opened her mouth, shut her mouth, opened her mouth, shut her mouth. Looking at Sarala's proud and natural look, she finally let out a long sigh. Okay, I know that the guy you like is very powerful, super powerful. There are a few legendary guardians around me for advancement and so on. I just treat it like eating and drinking, and don't take it seriously at all. By the way, if the elders of Sky Dragon City knew that Gretel had advanced, and if they knew that his advancement was such a big news, maybe a few of them would come and stand in a circle around him. By the way, why did Gretel suddenly advance? What achievements has he made recently? Vaska patted his head and finally thought of asking this crucial question. Created a spell? Or wrote some important paper? Probably. The problem of helping the dragon beasts to breed has finally come to an end, I'm not sure about the details. Sarala's eyes were a little wandering. Although she worked as Greet's assistant, Greet's work was piecemeal, sometimes looking like a hammer here and a stick here and there. She really didn't know the full results until it was completed. Gretel has been busy with the breeding of dragon beasts recently, or in other words, since the establishment of the Mage Tower and the acquisition of the first dragon beast. However, he split a task into 7, 8, or 10 pieces, each person responsible for one piece. At the end of the day, you can only ask yourself why Gretel advanced. Or, after he comes out of seclusion, go to the Mage Tower Center to see if there are any new papers uploaded. Greet himself is still immersed in the world of meditation, sorting out what he has gained this time. Helping dragon beasts to reproduce is a very troublesome task. It is easy to make mistakes at every level, including sperm and egg retrieval, fertilization, enhancement of fertilized eggs, and reimplantation. And now, he has integrated all these steps into a complete magic. As long as the sperm enters the body of the female dragon beast and a magic is released, it can first promote the maturity and automatic positioning of the eggs, the automatic puncture of the vines to remove the eggs, and the mass reproduction technique to promote the union of sperm and eggs. Then, the unfertilized egg is taken out, and the electric fusion magic follows up, breaking down both cells at the same time, adding nutrients to the fertilized egg. Finally, the fertilized egg rapidly generates, divides, and colonizes in the fallopian tube, allowing it to start growing. All the steps and casting materials required are only one seed that can be spawned into a vine. And this spell was named by Gretel Super Reproduction Technique. It integrated Anevia's mass reproduction technique, the electric fusion spell created by his senior sister, as well as the various steps and precautions he had sorted out himself. As long as there is ready-made dragon beast sperm, a super reproduction technique can be used to make anyone pregnant. It is fast and effective, and the entire operation is carried out inside the body of the female dragon beast. It eliminates the cumbersome removal implantation process and ensures that eggs and fertilized eggs are in the most suitable environment for their growth throughout the process. Gretel photographed 5 dragon beasts in a row, and all 5 female dragon beasts successfully conceived the second batch of dragon eggs. Next, we just wait for them to lay eggs safely and analyze the eggs they lay. But no matter what, the artificial breeding spell has been successful. It is conceivable that this spell can be extended to lizards, pseudo-dragons, sub-dragon beasts, and even dragons. Well, for mammals and even humans, some details may need to be modified, but it's not a big problem. In short, the super mass reproduction technique has been verified. And the rewards given to him by the will of the world were extremely overwhelming. When the spell model was completed and the verification passed, the advanced feedback came immediately. I don't know what progress can be made this time. I hope I can enhance my mental power a little. At the very least, the manipulation of chromosomes can be more delicate. The next level is to study dragon eggs and baby dragons to increase the probability of the baby dragon's awakening. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1540. Chapter 1535 Gretel, the Lord of Reproduction, I don't want to get pregnant. Yamengbing 10,000 rewards additional update 2. To improve the probability of hatching and awakening of young dragons, it is necessary to study chromosomes. To study chromosomes, you need to. Greet didn't know whether to do genetic sequencing. However, he at least knows one thing. He must take advantage of this advancement to work hard to perfect his chromosomes. Use the will of the world to paste the chromosomes on it. Paste it. One by one, they are all transformed into an extraordinary golden color. Of course, this time, the advanced vision must be smaller, and the chromosome shape must not be revealed anymore. Last time I got such a big and thick chromosome and stuck it on the top of the world tree. I was scolded by the teacher afterwards. How long will it take for him to advance? Vasca walked up and down outside the mage's tower, back and forth. In the first hour, he was immersed in hard work, trying to capture a little bit of the vast power. Then, after exhausting all methods, he discovered that those powers were released at fixed points. Although they looked particularly strong and vast, they were different from the elemental powers gathered around him, and he couldn't get close to them at all. In the second and third hours, he focused all his attention outside the defensive circle, glaring at the approaching dragons one by one. "Don't come over! Don't come over! Don't come over! If you dare to rush into the defensive circle of the Mage Tower, if you dare to disturb my future brother-in-law's promotion, I will tear you apart. Even if I can't tear you apart, I will sue you to Sky Dragon City and let the elders deal with you. How dare you disturb the Mage Nordmark? Don't you want to have children anymore? Don't you want the Dragon Clan to have a large number of offspring? Do you want those legendary elders who have lost all their children and want to have another child before they die of old age, to lose all hope?" Starting from the fourth hour, he began to exude dragon power and drive away the surrounding monsters. "What are you doing here? Go back, everyone. Otherwise I will eat you. Come on, get out of here." After all, he is a monster in his parents' territory, so he is quite familiar with his aura. After flying in a circle, the surrounding monsters peed and fled in all directions. After flying around for the second time, the monster that had arrived nearby turned around and ran away. At the end of the third circle, all the monsters 20 miles away were suppressed by the dragon's power and ran away completely. Huasca returned with satisfaction, found Cyrilla in the envious and jealous eyes of a group of dragons, and asked in a low voice, "How long does he have left? How long does it take to complete an advanced level? It's so boring." When Archmage Philby advanced, there were elements spinning around him, lightning condensed into runes, electricity, magnetism, and various familiar and unfamiliar power fluctuations for him to comprehend. What happens when Gretel advances? Nothing. How about some fluctuation? How about some vision? Don't plucking away a dime. Let me give you something to gain some insight into. Even if I just came here and can't help you, there are so many high-level mages and high-level nature priests nearby, giving you a starting point for understanding. I don't know. Cyrilla raised her head and stared at the Mage Tower without looking back. Beside her, a somewhat familiar barbarian, who seemed to be one of the followers of her future brother-in-law, had already set up a grill and grilled a row of various foods. The plucked pheasants and wild ducks are coated with sauce and honey, and their sweet aroma spreads in the wind. The half-fat and half-lean mutton is cut into 1-inch cubes and grilled on skewers with mushrooms, green peppers, and pineapples. It's colorful and appetizing just by looking at it. The whole fan of beef ribs is placed on the grill, the charcoal is cut into neat small pieces, the fire is even, the raging heat soaks into the thick meat, and the gravy is firmly locked in the meat. The 1-meter-long big fish was cut in half and lay open on the grill. It was slightly yellowed by the open fire. When it was broken open with a little force, the fish inside was white and the aroma gushed out. The barbarian ran between the grills, constantly flipping them, swiping sauces, and taking off the grilled food and bringing it to Cyrilla. Cyrilla didn't even look at it, she just reached out and took it, and ate it as soon as she caught it. She chewed and swallowed the food and the kebabs together, enjoying herself. 1-meter-long grilled mutton skewers, pheasant and duck, 1 chicken wing, 1 duck leg, freshly grilled big fish, finished in a few bites. That is, the barbarian follower can bake enough things to feed the silver dragon girl with a full appetite, that is, the barbarian is strong enough. Vasca felt that if he read it correctly, that barbarian it's almost half a legend. His hands and feet are fast enough to take care of so many grills, and he can also deliver a batch of food to the magicians who are changing shifts around him every now and then. Seeing the huge piles of food, Vasca couldn't help but move his index finger, grabbed a plump star-spotted eel from the grill, and took a bite. Immediately, Cyrilla's dagger-like gaze shot over. Hey, brother. You just realized it was me. Vaska didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He simply summoned a recliner, half reclined and half sat next to Sarala, and asked softly. How long did it take for him to advance in the past? Was it like this before, with no outward signs at all? In the past, not necessarily, it lasted from 3 to 4 days to 7 or 8 days. The last 2 times, it seemed to have been 5, 6, 7, or 8 days. Sarala replied very irresponsibly. Explicit signs. There must be them. They happen every time. Otherwise, why would there be so many people coming to snatch them? Hey, there really wasn't anything this time. Last time there was that such a high pillar of cloud. She stood up directly from the recliner, straightened her right arm, raised it high above her head, and gestured for her brother. As if this gesture was not enough to express the height of the cloud pillar, the silver dragon girl thought for a while and simply stood on her tiptoes. When she was about to activate the transformation spell to double the length of her arms, and then double the length again, Vaska stopped the girl's movement in time. I see, it's a very, very tall cloud pillar, right? How high? -100 meters? 200 meters? Probably, as tall as the world tree. Sarala tilted her head and thought for a moment. Without waiting for his brother's face to freeze, he added. Later, Greed said that it was his chromosome's epigenetic appearance. It's strange why it didn't come out this time. What? Chromosome? Chromosomes that big and thick? What is your intention when you are exposed to the outside world? Especially, exposed in front of my sister? What do you want to do? Vaska cracked her knuckles. That is to say, there is no abnormality this time. If you dare to take out your chromosomes, I will beat you up. Fortunately, this time, the will of the world was very powerful, and Gretel did not show his chromosomes directly in front of everyone. It was calm outside the entire mage tower, with no cloud pillars, no light and shadow, no runes, and no strange signs. The necromancers leading the team looked at each other and sighed collectively. Really, it is said that the last time, Archmage Heinz saw the towering chromosome cloud column with his own eyes, saw the clear double helix structure, and saw the dots on it dyed gold one by one. They are also necromancers. When it is their turn, they can't see anything. Why are they so miserable? Sure enough, they came too late and there is nothing. Apart from taking shifts, taking turns to rest, and taking turns to come to Bernard's place to have his teeth cut, everyone could only wait, and wait endlessly. Waiting for when Gretel will move to the next step. The process of strengthening oneself is over. The process of filling in the world of meditation and substantiating the world of meditation. There should be something to see, right? The world of meditation emerges from the outside, attracts external forces, resonates with external forces, and then further materializes. In this process, the magician's mystery and the magician's understanding of the world are seen most clearly. No matter how slow you are in strengthening yourself, 1 day and 1 night, 2 days and 2 nights, 3 days and 3 nights, it should be over, right? Previously, Archmage Philby advanced to half-step legend. The entire advancement process only took 7 days, and the part of strengthening herself took less than 3 days. But Sarala was not impatient at all. When it was time to eat and drink, she would let Bernard grill fish, stew meat, and squeeze a bucket of juice, commanding the barbarians around. Anyway, she couldn't see things like Yunzu's chromosomes clearly even after staring for a long time with her eyes wide open. She couldn't memorize them even if she saw them clearly, and even if she memorized them, she wouldn't have any insights. Anyway, the chromosomes of dragons are very different from those of humans. Whatever she wants to know, Gretel will always try to explain it to her until she understands it or she really can't understand it. She was not in a hurry, and neither was Gretel. The result last time was 4 pairs of chromosomes. This time I hope to have more, 5 pairs, and preferably 6 pairs. Speaking of which, humans have a total of 23 pairs of chromosomes. From now to half legend, he can advance 4 times even this time. You must get at least 5 pairs each time to get all your chromosomes before advancing to legend. Mud. Work hard. Paste it carefully. Don't skip a single point. He patiently processed the chromosomes in his meditation core bit by bit, not knowing how long it would take. The magicians who were on guard outside changed round after round, round after round, and finally, the magicians raised their heads, flew out of the hands of the magicians and tugged on each other's sleeves, their nostrils flared, and they all started to commotion. Coming. Coming. I'm coming. Abundant power rolled through again. This time, vast clouds of gas poured out from the mage tower, soaking the doors and windows, the body of the mage tower, and the robes of the magicians. The clouds were so thick that the 2 magicians stood on adjacent nodes, only 10 meters away from each other. They could only see vague figures, and even couldn't see each other's faces. Get out! Get out! Archmage Philby's clear voice came. The magicians retreated quickly while muttering and complaining. What's happening here? Cover it with clouds and mist so you can't see it? No, this is too stingy. Master Nordmark, considering that we have been guarding him for so long, give us something to look at. However, the clouds continued to expand, expand, and expand outward. Suddenly, an invisible wave spread from the center of the mage tower. Elder Nox's expression changed drastically, and he ran towards the animal pen. Before I could get there, high and low chirping sounds were already heard. In the animal pen, lizards, pseudo-dragons, sub-dragons, and dragon beasts all raised their heads and chirped together. Gretel? Greet, what are you doing? Why are these guys showing signs of being in heat? Everyone, get away. Get away quickly. Get further away. With the mage tower as the center, leave twice the radius of the cloud range. No. Master Nordmark, are you going to change your job from Lord of Plague to Lord of Reproduction? I don't want to get pregnant. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1541. The magicians were so distraught that they fled desperately. Gretel had just impregnated a group of female drakes, and they all knew it. Gretel suddenly embarked on the path of advancement, which was directly related to the pregnancy of these female dragon beasts. You can guess this. So, even if you are shrouded within the scope of the spell, you won't get pregnant, but if you are in heat or something, you will make a fool of yourself in public. The old face of several lifetimes has to be lost in front of colleagues, subordinates, and even students and magicians from other schools. It doesn't matter if everyone gets tricked together, but if he is the only one who gets tricked, he will be pointed back and pointed at, that's the guy, he's in heat in public. The only option is to stay in the New World, or simply cross the ocean, build a mage tower in the southern part of the New World, and hide away from people for the rest of your life. Even Huasca's expression changed. He grabbed Sarah and ran out. Just kidding, he still has a beloved girl to chase, so he can't make a fool of himself here. If something ugly is seen by the giant dragons outside, it will be passed on to the ears of the crystal dragon. He will be happy for a lifetime. And his sister? If he failed to take good care of his sister and Cyrilla was attacked, his parents would be able to break his wings and tail even in this state. Cyrilla was caught off guard and almost flew up by her brother. While running staggeringly after him, he turned back and shouted, "My roast! My roast, Bernard, my roast!" Okay, the loyal barbarian originally flew beside Cyrilla to ensure her safety. Seeing her leaving the foggy area, he visually checked that everything was normal, agreed, and plunged back into the thick clouds. After a while, the clouds and waves broke through, and the barbarian rushed out with a roasted lamb in his left hand, a roasted fish like a sail in his right hand, and 2 grills on his shoulders. He set up the grill in front of Sarah and dove in again. Mage Nordmark is such a good follower, Vaska admired sincerely. Why doesn't he have such a dependent? His dependents, even if they are transformed from dragon blood, are either dull, grumpy, or unruly. How is he like Bernard, who cares about people, takes care of them, and worries about their safety? The strength is close to half a legend, but he still stays by Sarah's side, grilling meat for her to pass the time without waiting for orders. That's... Sarah raised her head happily. No matter whose follower he is, Bernard followed Gretel to the battlefield before and tried his best to protect him. Moreover, Gretel has never treated Bernard badly, he eats all the delicious food for him, tries to equip him with weapons and armor, finds high-level warriors to teach him martial arts, and tries every means to do research to improve his strength. Feelings come out day by day, right? Whoever is like my brother's dragon-blooded relative seems to have given dragon blood and transformed them, which is the greatest kindness. They retreated half a kilometer away from the fog in one breath. Seeing that the rolling clouds and fog stopped expanding and finally stabilized, they each breathed a sigh of relief. Thank God, at least there is no need to be embarrassed. They have all fled here, and there is obviously no need for any defensive formations. Sarah thanked the magicians one by one for their hard work, and asked Bernard to reinstall the grill, start roasting and cooking meat again, and then serve everyone a portion again. Anavi, Apia, Idian, and others naturally, he came to help. Everyone was eating and drinking while staring at the clouds, trying hard to penetrate the dense clouds and see clearly what was going on inside. Is Gretel's advancement going smoothly? In the advancement process, where have you reached? How is the materialization of the world of meditation progressing? Is there anything explicit you can show us? It is said that last time, a variety of chromosomes were displayed. The various organisms he tested during his research, long or short, simple or complex chromosomes, appeared almost in turn. Please do it again. If we do it again, we will definitely take note of it. The high-level mages not only stared at the clouds, but also secretly released various tools one by one. The secret eye with automatic recording function, the silver disc with automatic energy scanning function, the recording disc with flight function that can continuously adjust the distance. The most outrageous thing was that a group of magicians from the Black Crow Swamp released several bone birds, which were constantly circling outside the clouds. Although the bone bird was covered in skin and looked a bit like a raven at first glance, who among the people present could not see through it? Cyrilla snorted, trying to ignore these sneaky guys, and just stared at the clouds wholeheartedly. However, the clouds became thicker and denser, and she could not see anything. Suddenly, Cyrilla's ears moved, and the thorns popped out, opening 2 translucent membranes. At the same time, the magicians began to rush around, adjusting their alchemy equipment and releasing a new batch. The clouds began to flow and condense, and the outer layer became a little thinner. You could vaguely see the turbulent flow inside, and there were large piles of clouds. Some of the clouds looked like people, some looked like wolves, some looked like eagles, and some looked like small dragon beasts, spreading their wings and stumbling around inside. Through the clouds outside, it was like watching the movement of figures inside through a curtain, but it was not very clear. But not long after, you can see the shadows of the clouds inside begin to deform, start to cry to the sky, or their bodies are ignited with flames. What is Gretel doing? Sarah took 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, then 2 steps forward, and then 2 steps back, scratching her head with curiosity. It's a pity that Gretel is in the Mage Tower now. She came out at the beginning, unlike last time, she turned into her original body and coiled around him, protecting him and watching the whole scene. Then again, the image that appeared last time seems different from the image this time. It's really different. Cyrilla could not see clearly outside, but in the meditation room of the Mage Tower, the legendary Maple Servilia, who arrived at the first moment, watched with great interest. "Yo, are you undergoing renovation?" A clump of chromosomes emerged, inserting a tiny dot, and another tiny dot, and another tiny dot. The transformed wolf now has scales on its body. Then a mass of chromosomes emerges, a small dot is inserted, and another small dot is inserted, and the transformed giant becomes stronger in an instant, and then another circle. Another mass of chromosomes emerges. During the time Gretel came to Dragon Island, he did quite a lot of transformations for dragon blood relatives. All dragon chromosome maps and dragon blood family chromosome maps, even if they were not made by him, he tried to read and stored them in the meditation core. But now when I advanced, the recorded information actually surfaced one by one. Different points have different functions. Insert different points to get different effects. Not only dragons and dragon blood descendants, but also other species, maybe it can be done by inserting other chromosome points? Greet silently thought about it in meditation. There have been examples of this in the past life. In bacteria and viruses, different chromosome segments were inserted to make them show different traits. Introducing different genes into fertilized eggs allows the newly born varieties to obtain different shapes and strengths. It is possible in theory, but in practice, you need to be very careful. Well, using magic to insert gene fragments. If this method can be simplified, more experiments can be done in the future, starting with lower organisms. Modifying chromosomes, although there are many ethical issues, is really interesting. Apart from anything else, get some various monsters and pets, such as Pegasus with wings, domestic pigs with meat as tender as snow sheep, chickens with 6 wings and 4 legs, etc., should not difficult. And those genetic diseases. It can treat everything from red-green color blindness to thalassemia to hemophilia. Also, the analysis of dragon chromosomes can be stepped up. Which ones enhance physical strength, which ones enhance mental strength, which ones enhance muscles, which ones enhance nerves and brain cells. After analysis, the chromosome points can be strengthened in a targeted manner. As long as the chromosomes can be strengthened through the eggshell, the probability of the hatchling safely breaking out of the egg can be greatly improved. The probability of the young dragon awakening its true name after breaking out of its shell can probably, maybe, should, be increased, right? Even in meditation, Gretel could not suppress a burst of joy. The clouds are constantly fluctuating, absorbing the elemental power from the outside world, and engraving all the latest research during this period into his meditation world. With this killer weapon, combined with the super mass reproduction technique, not only can one be able to photograph who is pregnant in the future, but one can also control other people's offspring, allowing the child to win at the starting line, win in the mother's womb. Please call me the child-giving fairy Gretel. A new book from the same group is titled Emperor Dragon. Introduction: Gravity, Electromagnetic Force, Strong and Weak Interaction Forces. The 4 basic forces are the power under my control, my eternal crown, and my immortal throne. The ignorant call me a tyrant, but the wise call me their king. Some people are afraid of me, and some people worship me. They all surrender to me. The gods tremble under my wings, and the worlds fear at my roar. The world respects me as the final Emperor Dragon, the Emperor Dragon Saga, Saga Gatangi Atrox Diavolo Nexus Targaryen Arceus. This book is also called Dragon Controlling Power and Chronicle of Power Dragon Clan. It is written by a senior dragon writer in the same group. Kat is also reading it, and plans to see how he tosses the 4 basic powers. It is a very interesting book, meow. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geolan 2020. Chapter 1542. Night Dream Bing 10,000 Rewards Plus Update 3. Feel the world and blend with it. Accept the gifts from the world, use the gifts from the world to shape your own chromosomes, and then coat the chromosomes with a layer of gold. Strengthen the world of meditation according to your own perceptions, and make the world of meditation further substantive. Gretel has gone through these steps more than a dozen times and is already used to them. It was only when he advanced this time that the map in the meditation world included Dragon Island and Sky Dragon City, as well as the world outside Sky Dragon City. Only then did he understand why the Dragon clan was so uniquely blessed. If the elves have been planting grass and trees since ancient times, sorting out nature, and cultivating the vitality of nature, which is beneficial to the entire world, then the Dragon clan has been patrolling the starry sky since ancient times, bringing back all kinds of materials from beyond the starry sky. Meteorites, minerals, elements, and even various harmless creatures. Enriching the world will be of great benefit to the world. If the elves have blocked the cracks in the world for thousands of years, they have withstood the horde of great demons and have not allowed outsiders to rush into the world and harm the world. So, the Sky Dragon City that hangs high in the sky, traveling around the world all year round, has blocked more than just a crack. Instead, there are 10 or 100 of them, they are destroyed and reborn, and they are reborn and destroyed. There are often gaps where unknown creatures and unknown forces come in. Such a dragon race is not favored by the world. What kind of race can be favored by the world? It's just that although the world is caring, it is also harsh. Although it gives them strong bodies and long lifespans, it also obeys the laws of nature and makes their reproduction difficult. It is difficult to conceive, difficult to hatch, and difficult to awaken. Only in this way can the strongest descendants be selected and those powerful dragons can be used by the world. Even so, I hope there will be more dragons in this world who can contribute to the world. Therefore, I promoted the reproduction of the Dragon clan, and as I walk step by step on this road, I received the blessing of the will of the world, and I couldn't wait to pour out a large number of gifts. That means, it is simply shouting. Hurry up! Hurry up! Let them grow up quickly. Let them give birth to many, many, many little dragons, come up one after another and work for me. Does this mean that you treat me as a breeder? Gretel cursed silently. Of course, despite all the criticism, we still have to work hard to get the benefits, absorb as much as possible the gifts from the world, and strengthen ourselves as much as possible. With the core of meditation as the core and the strengthened chromosomes as the core resonates with the physical body, and through the connection between them, the body becomes stronger, stronger, and stronger again. I rarely exercise my body or martial arts. I have almost given up my transformation skills since I left the Elf Island, so I am focusing on this one. Mighty power powers from the void. The abundant gifts of the world's will, mixed with the elemental power that almost rolled into a storm, attacked from all directions towards the center of the Mage Tower. Outside the Mage Tower, the magicians looked at each other with joy. Here comes another wave. After the wave of reinforcement just now, there can be another wave. With one advancement, you can get double enhancements. Should you be called a Nordmark mage? A genius who advances once a year, without any obstacles, climbing to the top step by step. Ahem, maybe it's because the natural priest and the magician advance together, so they can get 2 enhancements. Maybe we can also try, for example, let the magician work part-time in another profession or something. Don't make trouble. It's not like I haven't had a part-time job before, and it either got stuck, or even the main job got stuck. What's worse, he went directly to the priest and never came back. The school that trained him can't even cry tears. So the Nordmark mage is still a special case. Don't worry about this. Such a strong elemental storm, look at the dragons around you are commotion again. Form formations and prepare for defense. Idion had already stood up with a serious face, suspended in the air, and looked around cautiously. The elf moon blade's cold light flashed, and it kept spitting out an arc-shaped blade, which escaped 2 feet from the blade before slowly dissipating. Warn. Warn. Don't come near. Don't think about intercepting elemental power. That's the Nordmark mage. It has nothing to do with you. No grabbing. You giant dragons, no matter how huge each one of you is, there are so many giant dragons, none of them have reached the level of legend. If you can't reach the legend, whoever dares to grab one should try first to see if you can block my sword. Cyrilla and Huasca also revealed their original identities with serious faces. They are not that aggressive, but they are also guarding one direction and watching the outside world. Outside the circle, there was a commotion among the dragons who had come all the way to watch. But no one dared to rush in with all their faces. Huasca's fighting power is obvious to all among this group of dragons, not to mention there are so many magicians in it. They just chanted high and low and kept complaining. Cheapskate. Too stingy. You're so close, you can't see anything. It's so easy to make a big noise, and we can't even take a sip. Even if we take a sip. That's right. Don't come over. Just don't come over. Cyrilla suddenly got angry. She spread her wings, floated in the air, and shouted to the opposite side. Whoever dares to disturb Greet's advancement, I'll let him deal with whoever he is later. You know what he's capable of. Shoot it with a spell, and you'll get pregnant if you shoot it. If you can make the dragon beast pregnant, you can all be pregnant. Ahem, Cyrilla. These words were so violent that not to mention the dragons on the opposite side, even Huasca was sweating a little after hearing it. He reluctantly turned around and whispered to stop. Cyrilla, we won't do it. If they dare to disturb Gretel, my brother will help you beat them later. If not, ask your parents to beat them together. Girls are not married yet, so don't always think of pregnancy. Keep it on your lips. Not to mention getting someone else pregnant. Then you go and beat them. Cyrilla flapped her wings and landed a little unpleasantly. She retreated, and Vasca could only rush forward and stand in front of her sister. Did you hear that? Don't disturb Mage Nordmark. He's advancing. He's advancing. Whoever dares to disturb him will come out later and get pregnant for you one by one. Yo. Yo. The dragons on the opposite side cheered loudly. Most of the people who came here to watch were male dragons, with strong curiosity and strong mobility. When it comes to pregnancy, who is afraid of whom? Come. Come on, come on. Is it really possible to get a male dragon pregnant? Let him try. We really need to broaden our horizons. Yes. Just try it on Jeremiah. Everyone, grab him and throw him in. Don't let him escape. Vasca was immediately given a headache by them. What's more, a female dragon who also came to watch was even more open-minded than the male dragon. Really? Is it really possible to get pregnant? Did Master Nordmark personally make me pregnant? Come on. Come and try. Cyrilla gritted her teeth and almost pounced on her to fight. Vasca quickly grabbed the girl and said loudly. Whoever wants to cause trouble, whose family will breed dragon eggs and hatch dragon hatchlings, will never ask for help from him again. It's not a person, it's a family. This warning finally made the dragons calm down a little. Most of the adult dragons here are not married, let alone have children, and basically do not encounter fertility problems. However, the family united. Who doesn't have a few families with childbirth difficulties? The dragons calmed down, and of course they couldn't allow the elemental power that they couldn't get their hands on to be snatched away by the monsters coming from behind. The dragon's power spread out unscrupulously, and instantly there was another wave of chickens and dogs. Greed had no idea about these twists and turns outside. He greedily absorbed the incoming energy, working hard to strengthen himself and the meditation world. By the way, he began to construct spells in the meditation world. There was nothing to choose from this time, it was the super reproduction technique that he had integrated before. With the gift of the will of the world, the spell model of super reproduction is more compact, the spell consumption is smaller, and the spell can be cast without materials. Although all the casting materials added together are actually just one seed, seeds are also materials. More importantly, the strength of the vines that can pierce the ovaries of dragon beasts may be average, but the strength of vines that can pierce the ovaries of giant dragons, or even the ovaries of legendary dragons. Now, with the blessing of the will of the world, everything is no longer a problem. Greed meditated and patiently built the spell model bit by bit. He must be able to make it fast or slow, separate and combine, increase consumption in exchange for spell power, and also reduce consumption to save spell power. After all, some dragon couples really have insufficient sperm activity and insufficient egg activity. They need to be serviced from beginning to end, starting from microinjection and continuing to implantation of the fertilized egg. And some giant dragons actually just need a big estrus spell. He worked as hard as he could, completely unaware of the sun rising and setting, and rising again, over and over again. I also don't feel that the energy pool in the mage tower is working hard, pumping hard, filling the meditation room with energy and then being sucked out. After being sucked out, it is filled again. Slowly, it is fed back by the elemental storm from the outside. Until I opened my eyes, green leaves were whirling in front of me, and the trees were full of flowers. A dark green oak tree and a bright red maple tree stand side by side with tangled branches and leaves. Pure white and bright red flowers hang all over the branches, petals next to petals, stamens against stamens, rubbing each other. Gretel. Ashu, I just have time to upgrade, what happened? You suddenly succeeded in catching up with Servilia? Did she promise you? You all start exchanging pollen. Next, you two won't tell me that Servilia is going to be pregnant, no, will you bear your fruit? Don't talk nonsense. I didn't, the legendary maple tree suddenly shrank all its branches and leaves. The petals gathered, the greenhouse closed, and a towering tree suddenly turned into a small tree that is only 1 person tall and graceful. I was just sensing the fluctuations of your advancement. I couldn't help but become like this. I didn't promise him anything. You, get out. She flew out a branch and whipped it hard at the nearby oak tree. With a brush sound, green light flashed, and the oak staff also retracted into the form of an eyebrow-level stick, jumping back and forth in the meditation room. Sister Servilia. Don't be like this. You were fine just now, okay, I won't mention it anymore, I won't mention it, wait until the master advances to legend. Advance to legend. Gretel held his head with a headache and looked at them. After a long while, he waved his hand. Okay, stop making trouble. Sister Servilia, what just happened? Why did you suddenly bloom? It's not you yet. Just now my breath changed again and again, and I suddenly wanted to bloom. The maple tree shook its branches and leaves, and the flowers appeared and disappeared on the branches, appeared and disappeared again. Every time one appears, there must be a wild tremor. Soon, the ground in the meditation room was filled with pollen, as if the maple tree had shaken off all its own pollen and the oak pollen, leaving nothing behind. Gretel felt a headache for the oak staff just looking at it, but it was hard to persuade him. Servilia shook for a while and finally changed the topic. Okay, Master Nordmark, don't talk about me. How are you? Did your advancement go well? It feels pretty smooth. Greet closed his eyes, felt himself, and then opened the door and left the meditation room. At this time, the clouds outside had already cleared up, and the door was full of magicians. When they saw him going out, They all stared at him. How about it? How about it? Everything goes well. Gretel smiled at them. Before he could elaborate on his feelings, Vaska had already squeezed in, grabbed Gretel and dragged him out. Come on, try to transform into dragon form, see how long you can last. 1 hour? You must last for 1 hour. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1543. When Vaska shouted these words, not to mention Cyrilla, even Archmage Philby, Elder Nox, and a group of high-level mages and school leaders all stared at Gretel. After so many days, everyone has heard the words released by Cyrilla's parents, everyone has also understood the purpose of Vaska's visit. Everything is ready, all it takes is for Gretel to advance. As long as he successfully advances and can transform into an adult dragon for 1 hour, Cyrilla's parents will immediately hold an engagement ceremony for them. Immediately. Even in the marriage of adult dragons, parents cannot actually make the decision. Even if the legendary silver dragon couple objects, Cyrilla can drag Gretel and fly away from Dragon Island to get married in Nevis. However, having parents' approval and blessing is still different after all. Mage Nordmark. Do you think your condition is okay? Do you want to try it now? The advancement has just been completed, and it happens to be the time when the power is the most abundant. It's right to try it now. Should we rest? Take a nap? Meditate for a while longer and let the magic power reach its peak. After all, I didn't eat, drink or sleep for so long. Gretel smiled at them one by one. It didn't matter if he tried it now. He really felt that he had plenty of power and was much stronger than before he advanced. Maybe, it can really last for an hour? Of course, you have to try, and you still have to cheat. Greet called Cyrilla to get ready to eat and fill her stomach, and at the same time communicated with the oak staff with her mind, letting it connect the energy path with the center of the mage tower and be ready to recharge at any time. Surrounded by magicians, he walked out of the mage tower, picked an open space and started to activate the transformation spell. Without the blocking clouds and defense circle, the giant dragons who came to watch the fun immediately began to make noises. They gathered around and commented on Gretel's transformed image. It's become pretty good, complete. That is the art of transformation, a spell given to nature walkers by the world and nature. It's not complete, is it missing a wing or a claw? The scales on the body are also bright, they are clean and shiny, and they really look like a silver dragon. There's nothing you can do about it, it's not like you run around wearing a suit of scales every day. It will get dirty, dust will fall off, and a few pieces will fall off in fights with people. This is created by the transformation technique. Take it out to show off occasionally, and of course it will look prettier than you usually do. The figure is quite slender, to be honest, it's a bit too slender, it doesn't look like a male dragon, but more like a female dragon. I am a magician and not a warrior. Is there a problem with my body becoming slimmer after transformation? That's for sure. Guess, who did he learn the transformation technique from? Who did he learn it after? Who else could it be if it wasn't Cyrilla? Several giant dragons answered at the same time, and then laughed at the same time. After laughing for a while, a deliberately lowered voice suddenly said. So is he turning into a male dragon or a female dragon? I don't know. Have a look. Well, look. Hey, that's too much. Whatever you look at whatever you look at, I will beat you to death. One by one, they actually squatted down and tilted their heads desperately to look over. Why don't you be so obscene? And that one over there, talking about you. A mysterious eye came over, do you think I'm blind? My magic perception is gone, and I can't see anything. Gretel waved his claws threateningly towards the opposite side, piercing two arcane eyes that were dangling on the ground and moving in an unusually coquettish manner. Then, he lay down quietly, began to save his strength, and at the same time felt the flow of magic power in his body. Hey, it seems to be okay this time. The energy storage inside the body seems to have expanded from a small pool for children to splash into a standard pool of 50*25 meters. Moreover, the energy density has become higher, the energy utilization efficiency is also higher, and the absorption of external forces is stronger. Specific to the transformation technique, the water level in the energy pool drops even more slowly, almost, only a quarter of the original. According to this calculation, even if you don't need to charge the mage tower and don't need to eat and drink to supply yourself with energy, you should be able to last for a full hour. But Bernard had already laid out the grill and set up the saucepan. A whole snow sheep, a whole reindeer, and a big fish more than 3 meters long were carried over by the giants. One by one, they were grilled on the grill. Although it is no big deal to transform into a dragon and eat raw food, in front of many magicians, whether you can bite off half a sheep or a big fish head in one bite, it is better to restrain yourself a little. Besides, eating it cooked tastes good and is good for digestion, right? For a moment, the flames burst into flames, crackling and licking the meat, and the aroma filled the air. However, these livestock are quite huge in order to fit the appetite of the dragons. Even the smallest snow sheep cannot be roasted in a short time. When will this be baked? Archmage Philby looked around and frowned. Greet is waiting for these things to replenish his strength. This side is roasted slowly and slowly, one side is roasted for half an hour, and the other side is stewed for more than 2 hours. When it is cooked, it is finished on the other side, so where is the use? She snapped her fingers slightly, and a translucent golden red flame immediately emerged and fell on the cleanly skinned giant horned bull. For a moment, the entire cow was wrapped in golden red flames. The beef immediately turned gray, white, and shrunk, and the bones made a crackling sound. Archmage Philby shouted. "What are you doing standing there? Why don't you sprinkle some seasoning?" Bernard woke up from a dream, rushed forward, touched a big knife, and cut with the knife. With one stroke of the knife, a foot-square piece of meat was removed from the beef leg. The cross-section showed a light pink color, and the heat and aroma hit the nostrils, indicating that it was clearly cooked. He quickly sprinkled salt, spices, and various condiments, and then held up a fork with a cold light that could be used as a weapon and brought it to Gretel. For an adult dragon, such a piece of beef is not much different from beef cubes. Greet swallowed it in one gulp, chewed it twice, and bowed his head to the senior sister. "Senior sister, great craftsmanship. For such a big cow, the fire power penetrates directly into the inside, making it roasted without being burnt or raw. It is soft and fragrant, and the juice flows down the teeth when you bite it." Archmage Philby smiled and shook her head. "This is a basic skill. Evocation mages need to practice magic control. I don't know how much they were burned to waste before." "Oh, you haven't practiced it before. Alas, good luck, boy. You have never experienced any of these tortures. The teacher basically treats you like a free rein. It's a coincidence that the stocking has advanced so quickly. I'm already at level 16, and I might catch up with me soon." Gretel shrank his head and decided not to dwell on this topic anymore, so as not to get beaten up by his senior sister again. Bernard simply changed his approach and invited the giants to work together. They rubbed salt on the outside of the cows, sheep, pigs, and fish, and stuffed the stomachs with various herbs, mushrooms, roots, and the like. Son. The elder sister's flames turned, and the astonishing high heat penetrated into the muscles and bones, roasting them instantly. The giants were running around carrying food, but Gretel just lay there, taking one bite, and another. Of course he wasn't the only one eating it. Sarala stayed with him, picking out delicious food and taking a bite first, taking apart a leg of lamb, filleting a piece of fish maw, cutting a deer loin and so on. Of course, she didn't eat it alone. After splitting it up, she gave one piece to senior sister Philby, another piece to Bernard and others, and the rest fell into her stomach. While eating, he cheered Greet. "Gretel, work harder. It's been half an hour. We'll be there in half an hour. Do you think you can hold on? Do you want to add some magic crystals? Or increase the level of the monsters? I still have 2 ice tigers here." Vaska rolled her eyes in the distance. Further away, the giant dragons pointed and laughed. "Oh, the little princess is in a hurry to get married. We haven't even gotten engaged yet, but we've already posted all our wealth. Intermediate and high-level ice tigers, even us, don't want to eat what we can eat at any time. Giving it to magicians, giving it to followers, everyone, but not to my own brother. It's over, I'm afraid I can't keep little Princess Yuehui." Vaska's face was covered in black lines. "The most annoying thing is that most of the meat is given by him. Given to him by his parents. It is used for Gretel to train and work hard for an hour. He couldn't get a bite at this time." He suddenly exerted force and swung out his heavy long tail, smashing headlong into the 2 giant dragons that laughed the most. The dragons dispersed in a hurry. "I won't tell you the truth. I'm angry, my poor brother didn't receive anything, I'm angry." "Don't be angry. When you catch up with Flavia, you will have a wife who loves you. You don't have to covet the meat in your sister's hands." Vaska turned her head away angrily. "Look at Gretel, then look up at the sun in the sky, and look at the shadow on the ground." Although dragons are very sensitive to magic and can sense the passage of time, the closer 1 hour is, the more he can't believe himself. "Is the time up? Have you arrived? How far is it to an hour? 10 minutes? Or a quarter of an hour? Can Greet hold on? If I can't hold on this wave anymore, it will be far away when I advance next time." Looking back, a timer slowly turned around on the top of the mage tower. I don't know when it was summoned or by whom. It was ticking and going in circles. The second hand moves happily, the minute hand has already gone through 4/5 circles, and the time is almost up. Looking at Greet again, he was calm and relaxed, without any sign of exertion. He was lying on the ground and shaking his head. No, the time is almost up. If this meat is not digested in time, it will strangle me to death when I finish my transformation." He slowly stood up and walked around the mage tower, completing 1 circle and then another, as if he was digesting food. After walking around for several times, there was a sudden loud bang, and the timer on the top of the mage tower exploded in the air, turning into fireworks all over the sky. "Finished. Finished. 1 hour. 1 hour. 1 hour. Engagement. Engagement. Hey, what gift are we going to give? We can't give a skeleton this time, right?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1544. The mage Nordmark is getting engaged. There was a thunder on the ground. The people who come to Dragon Island are either close senior sisters like Archmage Philby, or people from Thunderhorn, who are already close to Gretel. He was engaged to be such a big deal, no matter what, he couldn't pretend not to see it. Or, he is a member of the natural god religion and has a master-disciple relationship with Gretel. Thunderhorn is dedicated, and there is no reason why they should not be dedicated. Or, it's Black Crow Swamp, who, even though he doesn't have any status, wants Gretel to become a member of their school more than anyone else. Even if it's hard to stick it on, it must be posted. They have all given gifts, and the Conjuration School, Transformation School, etc. are not easy to watch. Moreover, this time it is the marriage between the Nordmark mage and the Dragon Clan. And the Dragon Clan. Everyone in the Dragon Clan is a rich boss. In front of them, you must maintain your face no matter what. By the way, what gift should we give? Everyone whispered. When it comes to secretly hiding magic equipment and magic materials, everyone has a few at the bottom of the box. However, just because something is good does not mean it is suitable for giving as a gift. I have a thunder crystal in my hand, which can be used to summon lightning elves. Master Philby's eldest disciple, Master Issei Sir, endured the heartache and pushed out a palm-sized crystal. The color of the crystal is as deep as ink, and its surface is sparkling with stars. Viewed from the side, from the back, or from different angles, it seems as if there are wisps of lightning flowing inside, ready to burst out of the sky at any time. Don't. I heard that the Lord of Thunder gave Master Nordmark a lightning elf to protect him. He should not be short of this. His junior brother stopped him without thinking. Suor took the crystal back with a dark face. He was still checking if there were anything else suitable for giving as a gift, when he heard his junior brother say, "Well, I have a set of ruby jewelry in my hand, a necklace, a bracelet, and earrings. It should be just right as a gift. No matter how rich the Dragon Clan is, they will not refuse jewelry. One more piece, a better one more set, a better set. Your set of jewelry was originally intended to be given to Miss Frida, but was not given away, right? How dare you use it as an engagement ceremony?" Another magician unceremoniously demolished his stage. "No matter what, take it to the alchemist, wash the gems, melt the gold, redesign it, and change its appearance. I just don't have anything on hand. I keep all the valuable and precious things at home. I came to Dragon Island to do research. Who brought the treasure house here? Yes. It's true." Sighs came and went. The magicians looked at each other, everyone wanted to complain. This place wants concerts but not concerts, plays but not plays, and dances but not dances. There are not even beauties. Oh, Archmage Philby can't be counted, and Miss Anevia doesn't seem to be a suitable target. As for the Dragon Clan? Are you crazy, coming all the way here, not studying hard, working hard to advance, and focusing all your attention on pursuing the Dragon Clan? That's the Dragon Clan. No one can catch up if they want to. Therefore, the valuable private belongings were kept in his private treasury and were not brought over. Now it's all right, I want to give a gift, but I don't have anything I can take advantage of. Or, let's send a message back and ask the next airship to bring things over. By the way, we can also blackmail our family. They can't be the only ones bleeding. I'm afraid I won't be able to make it in time. When will the airship come next time? It's been at least a month, right? Can this engagement be postponed for a month? I have an idea. Let's go to the alchemist to order jewelry. Anyone can find some gold, mithril, etc., and a few pieces of jewelry will be enough. Where's the gem? Where's the paper on rubbing gems by hand? Check it out quickly. We are all high-level mages of the plasticity department, and that technical direction is just right. You can rub it after practicing it a few times. Isn't it right? You rub the gems with your hands. When the Dragon Clan finds out, it's like we can't afford the gift. What's the matter? If you don't tell me, if I don't tell you, who would know that these gems were just rubbed by hand? Besides, it doesn't matter even if you know. Making gems with your own hands makes you more sincere, doesn't it? A group of high-level mages of the evocation department were noisy, reading the papers, and each took their own direction. If you make ruby, I will make sapphire. If you make emerald, I will make diamond. If you make colorless and transparent, I will make pink, light yellow, Dark blue. Everyone does not repeat each other, highlighting a colorful, splendid, and luxurious one. It's a pity that pearls can't be made yet, nor can corals be made. Several gemstones, such as golden and green cat's eyes, have not found a way to make them. Otherwise, there could be more sets of jewelry to support the plastic energy scene. Go, go, go. Ask Archmage Philby for a leave of absence and go out to sea to explode gems together. The evocation department is rummaging through boxes and boxes, and Black Crow Swamp is also rummaging through boxes and boxes. Skeletons cannot be sent, zombies cannot be sent, and neither can undead knights and ghosts. Who said anything about sending hate? Drag him out and beat him to death. This time, I'm afraid I don't really want to write a letter back and ask my family to send some good things. No, wait, I have an idea. Don't all dragons like gold, silver, and jewelry? Let's work together and give away gold coins. Give more gold coins. Didn't you make a fortune in the Eagle Country last time? Take some of it, melt it, and cast it into gold coins. There is never enough gold coins in the dragon's lair. Let's pool our money together to add something to the Plague Lord's wedding bed. In contrast, the conjuration system is more calm and relaxed. High-end scrolls, just take out a few, they are all quite decent gifts. Produced and sold by yourself, you will never be short of them. The transformation system is more confident. This time a group of alchemists came, and there was enough time for gifts and other things, even if they were freshly made. As long as you don't get engaged tomorrow, give it half a month to make customized products together with other magicians. The magicians were so noisy that they even dropped their research work, just to add luster to Gretel's engagement ceremony, or in other words, to save face in front of the dragon clan. When the news spread back, Nevis was even more excited. What, Mage Nordmark is getting engaged? Are you going to be officially engaged to Miss Sarara? Quick, quick, quick. Inform His Excellency the Lord of Thunder. Inform His Excellency the Crown of the Sun. Is it too late for Nevis to send someone to attend? Do you want to send a legend? Or two? The Lord of Thunder is still on Elf Island and can't make it in time, let's forget about the engagement and wait until the wedding. Lord Sun Crown is in the Elf Forest. He said that the Well of Eternity is at a critical stage and he can't make it there. There is word that he won't be attending because of the engagement. As long as Archmage Philby is here. What about us? Should we send someone over? When is the engagement ceremony? Is it too late to rush over now? Wait, Your Excellency the Immortal. Don't go. After an unprecedented round of magic fluctuations, the 6 legends stationed in the Babel Tower finally succeeded in stopping the rampage of the undead legends with the help of the Tower Spirit and Igor Mystic Lock. Naturally, the matter of sending personnel to participate in the engagement ceremony of Mage Nordmark was just like this. If I don't go, you don't go either. No one is allowed to go. The immortal Lord Aquinas made a loud noise, and skulls were whirling over the entire Igor mystery, between the Tower of Babel and the 8 auxiliary towers. No one should act as an elder at his engagement ceremony. By the way, where will this engagement ceremony be held? Is it possible that it will be in Sky Dragon City? Is it possible for our people to stop by Sky Dragon City to visit? Andre and Cynthia also discussed more than once where the engagement ceremony would be held. According to their original idea, of course they would get engaged in Sky Dragon City. How can our little princess hold an engagement ceremony on the ground? Of course it must be in Sky Dragon City. Let everyone see it. Let all the people of the same clan see it, and let all the relatives come to bless you. Sarala will hold a wedding in the future, and I don't know where it will be held. The engagement ceremony must not be aggrieved. But, after being excited for a while, Cynthia lowered her tail unhappily. Before, we pretended as if we were about to die, which made Sarara cry so much, and forced that kid Gretel to study hard. Now we are suddenly about to fly to the dragon city in the sky. Will Sarah know? Will you blame us? No, Andre also hesitated. He burped hard, exhaled a plume of black smoke, and the scales on his body also emitted a burst of heat. Sarala is not such an unreasonable child, she acts like a spoiled child. She knows that we are doing it for her own good and will not really blame us. Even if she doesn't complain, what about the others? Cynthia, as a female dragon, has a delicate mind and thinks further. There are so many magicians, including little Gretel's teacher from the Natural God Church, and little Gretel's senior sister. If you really want to hold the engagement ceremony in Sky Dragon City, won't you invite them? If you invite them, why don't others invite them? Please. So many magicians flock to Sky Dragon City, let alone how to protect them then. Even if so many humans set foot on Sky Dragon City, it would be a troublesome matter. You know, previously the Lord of Thunder, and many high-level magicians, including legendary mages, and high-level mages who later became legendary mages, were not allowed to set foot in Sky Dragon City. Forget it, let's hold the engagement ceremony at our dragon's nest. After thinking about this, Andre was dejected and lay down. That means Sarala hasn't opened up her own territory yet. Otherwise, it should have been done in her dragon's lair. Now we have no choice but us parents to worry more about her. By the way, whoever you want to invite to the engagement ceremony, please send the news quickly. By the way, there was news from the child Vaska, saying that the magicians are busy preparing gifts and plan to give gifts at the engagement ceremony. What do you think our relatives will give us? You can't just get old dragon scales, fallen dragon claws, and broken dragon teeth as gifts, right? Don't be in a hurry to follow me. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is double monthly pass. See you again tomorrow. Seeing so many monthly votes, the cat's heart is about to break. Please vote for the cat tomorrow. Yum yum yum, meow meow meow. It's not that difficult to open a hospital in another world, right? Author, Geoland 2020. Chapter 1545. Like the magicians, the dragons who received the invitation were also struggling with what gifts to give. If you are a dragon clan such as a red dragon or a black dragon, if you hold an engagement ceremony and have your own brothers and sisters come to attend, it can be regarded as a very good kinship relationship. But the silver dragon is different, and this Nordmark mage is even different. Silver dragon values family relationships and family. Not to mention my own brothers and sisters, I also have a wider range of relatives who often move around and have a pretty good relationship. When Sarah first started traveling, she went to live with her Aunt Glory Scale Ms. Ophelia for a while, which is a clear proof. If you offend a silver dragon, a group of silver dragons, or even golden dragons or even other giant dragons that you have made friends with, will often come to look for trouble. Naturally, Sarala was getting engaged, and Andre and Cynthia sent the post to all their fellow tribesmen. Not to mention the silver dragon, the golden dragon I know has not fallen behind, and not even half of the legendary dragons in Sky Dragon City have fallen behind. Who made Gretel useful to you? When they need it, they bring it over. When they don't need it, they just close their eyes and pretend not to know. There is no indication that you have advanced, and there is no indication that you are engaged. That can't be done. Sarala was already young and advanced too quickly, so she didn't even open up her own territory and didn't build a decent dragon nest. As a parent, you always have to make plans for her. There are so many dragons, so many legendary dragons, even if one of them gives the same gift, Sarala's family fortune will be built up. It is impossible for her daughter to get married when the time comes. All the savings on hand will be given by her son-in-law, and none of her own savings. Not only were they dragons of the same race, familiar dragons and legendary dragons, but the couple also followed the list of dragons who were seeking treatment from Gretel, and sent a post to each of them. There must be someone for everything, and there must be someone for everything. By the way, you guys, have you paid all your medical bills? This large number of wedding invitations were scattered out one after another. You can imagine how scratching the dragon was when he received the invitation. Especially when Vasca was running around sending wedding invitations, the news had already been vaguely revealed. Those human magicians start with at least a set of jewelry, a high-level magic scroll, or a piece of magic equipment. The group of necromancers reportedly felt that it was unlucky to give gifts such as skeletons, so they banded together and gave a bed of gold coins. Gold. What does he mean? He also wants us to send gold coins, Golden Dragon Savory complained softly. It was that Nordmark mage who helped Vasca and made him withdraw sadly from the battle to pursue the crystal dragon. That's not to say that he quit sadly, at least he was already one step behind Vasca. Now, Master Nordmark is getting engaged, and he actually wants him to give a gift? Send gold coins. Send precious gold coins. Send gold coins that can decorate his scales. No way. That's right. That's right, the other two golden dragons, Thorngraf and Pearly Dolan, nodded desperately. Especially Pierre Dolan, who is very interested in Cyrilla. If Uncle Diamond hadn't stopped him from chasing her, he might have had to cross the ocean and go straight to Nevis. It is said that it is best to wait 10, 20, or 50 years before pursuing the little princess, lest she still remember that human being. Well now, after waiting and waiting, the little princess is getting engaged. Moreover, the person she was engaged to was a human magician who was praised by many Dragon Clan elders and considered to have legendary potential. After advancing to legend, you can have a theoretically unlimited lifespan. Thinking that the little princess will be with him forever, for 1,000 years, 2,000 years, and who knows how many years in the future, Pierre Dolan's heart will burst. Do you still want him to give you gold coins? No way. Then, let's just give something away to fool us. The Dragon Clan is very experienced and very traditional when it comes to fooling around. Classic ones such as shed dragon scales, accidentally broken dragon teeth, or similar things are often used to scare away adventurers. If you are reluctant to leave your skin, you can also use the moss growing at the entrance of the dragon's nest, the grass growing around the dragon's nest, and the stones dug from the walls of the dragon's nest. Anyway, they are things that have been mutated by being stained with dragon breath. Some are stained with dragon excrement and have some special effects. It can be used as rewards for adventurers or as rewards for family members. It is particularly useful. To be even more stingy, the less valuable herbs and less valuable stones in the territory can also be given away. What? Don't you think the gift is light? Be bold. The Dragon Clan has given you gifts, but you think the gifts are too light? Do you want to take a breath of fresh air? But it would not be good to give it to a member of the same clan and fool it like this. Several golden dragons gathered together and murmured, discussing exactly this matter. What? You want to give a piece of dragon scale? It's okay to give something like this to outsiders, how can you give it to your own family? Is there anything I can't give away? Last time. Pierre Doran still wants to settle old scores. His brother, the adult golden dragon Thorngraf, pulled him hard. Do you want Cyrilla to think of you only as a golden dragon who gave her a piece of foot skin? This is absolutely not allowed. Even if Cyrilla already has a dragon, no, a human man that she likes, and he is getting engaged, she is still the girl he has longed for. If she thinks of herself in the future and thinks, the engagement gift this guy gave me is just a piece of foot skin, then he will never show his face in front of Cyrilla in the future. Pierre Doran lowered his head angrily and began to check his collection to see what he could give away. I can't bear to part with gold coins, I can't bear to part with silver coins either, gems, what a joke. It's pity that he is a young dragon, he has just started to establish his own territory, he doesn't have many dependents, and he hasn't gone out to travel to make money. Every inch is like cutting his own flesh. Otherwise. The young golden dragon had already begun to pick at himself. A golden dragon in its prime can obtain a lucky spell once a day, and attaching the lucky spell to a gemstone makes it a good gift. But he was still a young man and had never acquired such special abilities. Otherwise, pick off a piece of scale, compress your dragon's breath and store it inside, or use the scale as a scroll to seal a spell. Then you need to find stronger scales. The ones at the base of the tail won't work. They are just hard and have poor ability to store spells. The ones under the dragon wings won't work either, they are too soft and too small. What are you doing? His brother looked over strangely. Pierre Dolan was troubled and said her thoughts smoothly. Thorngraf shook his head. A piece of dragon scale can't store much power. No, how about making it a token and a summoning anchor? Taking this dragon scale and releasing the spell on it will allow you to take action once. This is good. Pierre Dolan breathed a sigh of relief. There is no need to pay for it now, there is no need to pay for pearls and gems. As long as these two conditions are met, anything can be given as a gift. As for going to war, the obligation to go to war stipulated in the Dragon Clan's covenant is usually just to wash the ground with dragon's breath, and then use a few of your commonly used spells. If the battle is going well, you may fight a few more times. If the battle is not going well, you will basically just run away. Who would fight to the death for a covenant? Isn't that stupid? That's it. Break off a piece of scale, mark it with the Dragon Clan covenant, and help out when the time comes. As long as you don't contribute money and some effort, it's nothing. He happily broke off a piece of dragon scale, sprayed it with dragon breath, and started imprinting the dragon covenant spell. The two golden dragons beside him looked at each other and nodded. This is a really good idea. It's really good, you don't have to spend money. And everyone can give the same thing as a gift. There is no need to compare with each other. You have more and I have less. You look generous again, and you don't lose face in front of those magicians. Can a magic scroll or an alchemy golem be worth one of our attacks? It must be incomparable. Go, spread this trick. Give the same one to everyone. The news spread throughout Long Island like wind. The young dragons and adult dragons all cheered, broke off their scales, branded the Dragon Clan covenant, and prepared to give them away. The mature dragons looked at each other a little bit. As for the legendary dragons, like Elder Batista, they simply couldn't laugh or cry. Nonsense. It doesn't matter if children take action once, but if a legendary dragon like us takes action once, what's the news? There are so many legendary dragons who have received wedding invitations. Everyone will be given a copy of the Dragon Covenant. How many copies can Master Nordmark save? 30 copies? 50 copies? Or 100 copies? If he hits it all on the battlefield. Elder Batista shuddered and couldn't even think about it. This time the Dragon Covenant was smashed out, all the legendary dragons were present, and the dragon breath washed the ground. Maybe, probably. The glory holy city can be destroyed. Forget it, send 2 gems that have sealed magic. Master Nordmark is a steady and measured man, but we can't bet the situation on the mainland on his measured measures. With him taking the lead, the legendary dragons were quite generous in their attacks. On the day of Gretel's engagement, a special ceremony platform was set up on top of the legendary silver dragon's nest. One after another, the dragon-blooded family members came forward to give gifts on behalf of their master. Your Excellency Steel Dragon Bastos, I will give you a ton of fire steel. Your Excellency Red Dragon Angzi, I will give you a piece of Lyoyan jade to seal the meteor fire rain magic. Your Excellency Jade Dragon Tana, I will give you a piece of meteorite from the sky. Gemstones, precious magic materials, magic equipment, various meteorites fished from the sky, and the like were piled high into a hill around the ceremony stage. On the ceremony stage, there was a thick stack of dragon scales, colorful, gold and silver, piled up. How many copies are there in this Dragon Clan Covenant? 20. 30. Is this something that can be passed down to descendants, or does it only recognize Master Nordmark? It's amazing. Even if I only recognize him, the legend of the future, what kind of power will these dragon alliances have after 1,000 years? It's time for double monthly passes. Everyone, hurry up and vote for the month to give little Gretel a gift for her engagement ceremony. Cat wants 4,000 votes this month. At least 4,000 votes. In this case, 6 chapters will be added to the monthly pass next month.